Sandra Labella from the ABSA team referred us to Steph, and we had further excellent reports from the ABSA team about the engagement that Steph had concluded. So that led me to contact Steph, who came in and met with our executive team, and he really ticked all of the boxes in terms of what we wanted to achieve from the culture intervention. I'm Michael Shapiro, the Managing Director of Synthesis Software Technologies and also Executive Director of Capital Appreciation. Capital Appreciation is our holding company. They're a South African listed company on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, focusing on the fintech sector. And they have two divisions, one in the payment space and one in the software and services space. And Synthesis sits inside that software and services division of Capital Appreciation. Around the early 2017 mark, Synthesis had been through two major corporate actions. One is we experienced significant growth. The headcount almost doubled in an 18-month period. And the second key one is we concluded the acquisition. Capital Appreciation acquired 100% of Synthesis, and we became part of the Capital Appreciation Group. So that transition from moving to a private company to one in the public domain prompted us to focus on the culture and how to ensure that that culture that we had when we started the company or when I joined 2003, how did we maintain that innovative and entrepreneurial culture when we were growing and when we were part of a larger listed entity. So that prompted us to do some analysis around who could assist with ensuring that we maintained that strong culture of innovation, as I mentioned, entrepreneurship under those circumstances. We're very strong believers that culture eats strategy for breakfast, and that our words are our actions. And it was very important for us to have someone that had the same attributes and that could guide us through this process, someone that had guided multinational corporations through the culture change that they were wanting to affect, and someone who had local knowledge and local experience that could also help us engage with our customer base in a far more meaningful way. We were then referred to Steph by some of our customers from ABSA. And we had further excellent reports from the ABSA team about the engagement that Steph had concluded. So that led me to contact Steph, who came in and met with our executive team. And he really ticked all of the boxes in terms of what we wanted to achieve from the culture intervention. So the initial workshop was run by Steph and by Steve Simpson, who joined us on that call, and just their insight in terms of how important culture was and how important it is to be able to bring that out of the team made us realize that we needed a deeper engagement. And it was the entree into the unwritten ground rules process. But once we had completed the workshop and once we had seen the employee engagement, at the end of that session, we realized that it was a very beneficial process to actually do the next stage, which was the stock take and the defining of the unwritten ground rules with the team. And I can't say enough how great it was to work with Steph. His unique approach, his talents as a speaker, plus the interesting way in which he approached the unwritten ground rules, which was something that we had always lived. And when we were a smaller team and when it was more manageable for the point-to-point interactions, those ground rules were evident. But as we grew and as our office was expanding, it was more difficult for us to try and quantify what these attributes were. And so it really resonated with me and our executive team, the process that Steph was going to kick off, the fact that he was going to bring about some of these particular initiatives that we had always knew were important, but were struggling ourselves to actually document them or to formalize them. So having Steph run through the stock take and to then be able to actually come up with the 6 unwritten ground rules was a very compelling exercise. And in fact, today, 3 years on, after the first engagement in 2017, we still use them. They're very much part of our corporate identity. Inside of the office, the unwritten ground rules are displayed visibly in the office. And we also use them extensively when we bring in new employees. Like currently, we have a graduate recruitment program. And a large number of graduates joined us in January. We're busy running the orientation session with them. And one of the sessions is to take them through the unwritten ground rules so that they can quite quickly understand the culture of the company and then have that same common language that the rest of our team have to define and to live the culture that we feel is an important part of making our company successful. I would encourage companies, even when budgets are tight and even when it's a challenge to find time, I'd highly recommend companies look into this particular engagement and look at using Steph to run the UGR process and to help with the alignment of culture.